What are the worst and most unreliable SUVs that you can buy in 2023? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. A little while back, I made a video on 10 of the worst brand new SUVs that you can buy in 2023. I'll include a link in case you want to check that video out. But as bad as those SUVs are, unfortunately, there are other SUVs that you need to watch out for if you're shopping for a new vehicle in 2023. So to find out what are 10 of the worst and most unreliable SUVs that you can buy, make sure to stick around until the end of this video. And if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I post 2 videos a week, always straight to the point, valuable car buying advice designed to help you, the consumer. So let's get this started with my number 10 pick, which is going to be the Mini Countryman. It's really hard to imagine a strong reason to consider the Countryman in 2023. Aside from its unique looks and somewhat upscale feel, it really doesn't excel in any particular area. That is, unless you count below average reliability. Minis are not known to age particularly well, especially the older versions, which were known for having oil leaks, coolant leaks, engine and transmission problems, and various electronic issues too. And when something does go wrong, they can be extremely expensive to repair. Remember, Mini is owned by BMW, and the Countryman is essentially a mechanical twin of the BMW X1. So you might not get a BMW price tag, but you are certainly getting BMW operating costs. Now, the Countryman might not cost quite as much as a BMW, but it certainly isn't cheap. In fact, considering what you're getting for the money, the Countryman is quite an overpriced vehicle. So even though they do have a somewhat unique and cool image, if you're looking to buy a small crossover SUV, I would recommend passing on the Countryman altogether. And I would also say the same about number 9 on the list, which is the Buick Encore. Like the Mini, I'm not sure what strong argument you can make for buying an Encore in 2023. Buick's smallest aging crossover is just uncompetitive when you compare it against other small SUVs, most of which offer much better value for your money. But not only does the Encore offer poor value, but it also has a hit or miss reputation when it comes to its long-term reliability. Some owners have been happy with them, while others have had constant complaints with all kinds of ongoing issues, including problems with the 1.4-liter Ecotec turbocharged engine, 6-speed automatic transmission, and various different electronic gremlins too. Now, you could consider the newer and slightly better Encore GX if you really like the Buick, but the better decision would just be to buy another small crossover SUV instead. The Mazda CX-30, Subaru Crosstrek, Honda HR-V, and Toyota Corolla Cross all have a much better reputation for reliability, and they give you a lot better value for your money too. So with that one out of the way, let's move on to number 8 on the list, which is the Jeep Renegade. The Renegade is another aging small crossover that really doesn't have that much to offer. It shares many components with Fiat, which explains its below average reputation for reliability. Not only can Renegades become problematic as they age, but they're not exactly cheap to repair or cheap to buy either. Jeep is really banking on their reputation and image with this one, hoping that you're willing to pay a premium. But if you really want to have that Jeep image and some off-road capability, you would be much better off buying a proper Jeep like a Wrangler instead. At least if you buy a Wrangler, you're going to have a vehicle that'll hold its value over time, which certainly is not going to happen with the Renegade. With its below average reputation for reliability, poor value for money, and poor resale value, this is another example of an SUV that you just want to avoid. And the same could also be said of number 7 on the list, which is the Lincoln Aviator. In my previous video, I went over all the different issues that you could have with the Ford Explorer, a pretty underwhelming 3-row SUV, and the same criticisms also hold true of its luxury platform cousin, the Lincoln Aviator. The Aviator is certainly quite luxurious and nice to drive too, but it is just way too expensive for what you're getting, especially with the much higher quality alternatives that you could buy instead. Like the Explorer, the Aviator has many reported quality issues, recalls, and complaints with the 10-speed automatic transmission. And not only does it have below average build quality, but it's very overpriced for what you're getting too, especially if you go for the plug-in hybrid version, which is the Grand Touring. The plug-in hybrid would have been a good option if it had a good electric range and good fuel economy in hybrid mode, but sadly both of those things are missing. As a whole, the Aviator is just an overpriced SUV that really doesn't deliver when it comes to performance or reliability, so it really isn't worth considering. If you want to buy a high-quality 3-row luxury SUV that does offer good value, you would be much better off buying something like the Acura MDX instead. But when it comes to the Aviator, that one is just a hard pass. But we're not done with Ford products quite yet, so let's move on to number 6 on the list, which is the Ford Bronco. The Bronco was a highly anticipated off-road vehicle and launched with so much hype and excitement, but unfortunately Ford is not known for smooth launches, especially with all new models, and the Bronco has certainly had its fair share of early teething issues. The most significant one being engine failures with the 2.7-liter turbo EcoBoost engines. NHTSA has reported valve train issues with this engine, where the valves can drop inside the cylinder chamber, effectively destroying the entire engine. That's the thing with Ford, like some other brands, they rarely launch an entirely new model without having some major issues with it. So even though the Bronco obviously has its appeal, especially with off-road enthusiasts, you'd be much safer buying something else, like the Toyota 4Runner instead, which has a much better reputation for long-term reliability. But the Bronco is far from the only brand new SUV with potential engine issues. You could also say the same about number 5 on the list, which is the Kia Seltos. Although the Seltos is relatively new to the market, like the Bronco launching back in 2021, it's already had its fair share of issues. The most significant one has to do with the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, which unfortunately is part of a major safety recall. Kia was forced to recall a ton of these engines back in 2021 for having defective piston rings, which could lead to oil consumption and sometimes complete engine failure too. Now you might think you're safe by going with the optional 1.6-liter turbo engine on the higher trims, but unfortunately this one has also had some issues with the 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. So whichever drivetrain you go with, it seems that you just can't win with the Seltos. So if you want to buy a small crossover SUV, you're much better off buying one of the alternatives, like the Mazda CX-30, Toyota Corolla Cross, or the Honda HR-V instead. And the same is also true of number 4 on the list, which is the Hyundai KONA. It's no secret that Hyundai and Kia share a lot in common, and the KONA is actually the platform cousin of the Kia Seltos. The 2-liter 4-cylinder engine is part of the same engine recall with bad piston rings, with oil consumption issues and complete engine failure, and even sometimes engine fires. And the dual-clutch transmission on the higher trims with the 1.6 turbo engine is also known for being problematic too. It's a pretty unfortunate situation. This major safety recall from both Hyundai and Kia has affected millions of vehicles built over the past decade, and they're still dealing with these issues all the way up to 2021. Now, even though technically both Hyundai and Kia claim to have solved these issues in 2023, they have made these claims in the past, only to later expand the recall to the newer vehicles, so it's a little bit hard to have faith in the companies. Although the 2023 Seltos and KONA are fine at this time, who knows, maybe they'll expand the recall down the road to include these ones as well. In any case, who's really willing to take that chance, especially if you just want to have a reliable SUV that you can hold on to for as long as possible? No thanks, you're better off buying another SUV instead. So with those ones out of the way, let's move on to number 3 on the list, which is the Mercedes GLE. It's no secret that a lot of high-end European luxury SUVs are known to be very problematic past the warranty period, and the Mercedes GLE is no exception. Even under warranty, the GLC has proven to be a very problematic SUV, and it's actually ranked as one of the most unreliable SUVs that you can buy by Consumer Reports' annual reliability study. They are known for having all kinds of different issues with the drivetrains, suspensions, and electronics too. And being a Mercedes, you can bet that all of these issues are going to be extremely expensive to repair, especially as the vehicle ages well past the warranty period. So if you want to buy a long-lasting luxury SUV, just forget the GLE and buy something else instead, like the Lexus RX 350, which has a much better reputation for reliability. But whatever you do, just don't buy number 2 on the list, which is the Jaguar E-Pace. It's hard to believe that anybody would really even still consider buying a Jaguar brand new in 2023. The company has an aging lineup that's just becoming less and less relevant with time. And the E-Pace is a great example of an uncompetitive SUV that offers poor value for money and a below average reputation for reliability too. Jags are certainly not known for their stellar build quality, and they're also known to be very expensive to repair beyond the warranty period too. So if you were considering buying a high-end small luxury SUV like the E-Pace, you'd be much safer buying one of the alternatives instead, like the Porsche Macan, the Acura RDX, or the Lexus NX 350. And that brings us to number 1 on the list, the most unreliable SUV that you can buy, which is the Land Rover Range Rover. Yes, this one is not going to be a huge surprise to many because for as long as it's been around, the Range Rover has always had an iffy reputation when it comes to its reliability. It really doesn't matter whether you go with the full-sized Range Rover or one of these smaller ones like the Velar or the Evoque. They are all known for having below average build quality and all kinds of reliability issues too. They are extremely expensive vehicles to work on and repair, and it's not uncommon to experience issues even under the warranty period too. And who's really willing to deal with all those kinds of issues, especially with a really expensive vehicle like this? So do yourself a favor, if you want to buy a high-end luxury SUV, buy anything other than a Range Rover and you're most likely going to be much better off. So there you have it, 10 of the worst SUVs that you can buy for 2023. Let me know what you thought of the SUVs for this list, and if you have any suggestions for any future car videos, just leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at my other car videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to check out carhelpcan.com. Thanks so much for watching and see you next time.